Hello folks, it's so lovely to have you all here this morning in advance of our meeting this evening from the North Wales Economic Ambition Board to talk about the importance of well-being within your team and your organisation and what it means to all of you to be a Wellbeing Economy Employer. We're trying to scope out what that might mean here in Wales, and I know that there's been some fantastic stuff happening within the North Wales Economic Ambition Board. So Alwen Williams, thanks so much for joining us. Tell us, what does well-being mean to you?
Well, I think everything starts with people, doesn't it? And any type of well-being at any level, whether it's economic well-being, which is something the North Wales Economic Ambition Board is here to achieve, a better economic well-being for North Wales. So inclusive economic growth for the region over the next 15 years. But everything stems with the well-being of people on a human level. And therefore, as the team has evolved and grown over the last 12 months, we've really started to, and in the absence of having the ability to work together physically in a program office, we've started to talk a lot more about being well in ourselves and being really mindful of our triggers and the things that create anxiety or perhaps poor performance, and putting mitigating actions in place to ensure that as a team and as individuals, A, we feel comfortable to raise anything within the team and ask for help, and B, we understand the things, the activities or the actions that give us the energy to then be at work and be really effective at work. And I think we believe that if we found our approach on a well-being approach that supports the team to be effective and to be productive, then it's a really healthy and solid platform to then move on to drive for this much bigger strategic imperative, which is the well-being of the North Wales economy.
So the team charter was a joint collaboration document that we created, and it aligns the team's values, goals and missions. So ensuring that the entire team, regardless of their role, understands that everything we do is to develop North Wales and to build regional resilience. So the charter guides our behaviours as a team and what we should strive for, including critical matters like protecting our environment and ensuring that our work is done sustainably and inclusively, but also most importantly, looking after each other and our mental health and ensuring our own personal resilience. So the main benefit that it brings is that we all understand our part in delivering the growth deal, and that looking after ourselves, each other and the environment are essential to that.
I mean, it seems to me like co-production and creating that sense of kind of shared ownership within the team has been a really important part of that process. Obviously, managers could tell a team what their values are. Do you think, Erin, that the co-production element has been really important?
Absolutely, because it needs to be something that everyone's involved in, because everyone is a part of it. It doesn't matter if you're a top leader or if you're, on my level, an officer. Everyone needs to be a part of that, because if we're not involved in that decision, we're not as committed. So yeah, that was essential. And actually, I think this is quite a timely interview, because we announced this morning that as a team that we will be fundraising for Mind Cymru, which was also a co-decision for the team. We all nominated and voted for a charity of our choice. So that will be supporting that charity for the next year.
So the aim of the growth deal overall is to build a sustainable and resilient economy in an inclusive way. And so all projects have been challenged to deliver at net zero operational emissions and reduce embodied carbon, as well as to deliver at least a 10% net positive biodiversity gains. So that's really at the heart of all of our projects. And many of the projects themselves are delivering the infrastructure and technology to support the region and the UK more more widely reduce its ecological and carbon footprints. For example, scaling up renewable energy sources, and others are demonstrating in really tangible ways how the region can reduce its footprint. So the Clisfassi Net Zero Farm project, for example, working with farmers to understand and reduce their footprints. And we're really passionate in terms of the intersection with the charter. Very much we're living this every day in delivery of our projects, but also looking for ways to engage on a personal level across the region. So we're currently involved with the campaign Spring Clean Cymru, which involves collecting litter around local areas. And although that's more about kind of improving public places, it's also supporting staff wellbeing as they go out each day on daily walks. So I really don't think we can achieve success if we're not looking after both of those aspects, really, the well-being of ourselves and as well as the planet more widely. The Wellbeing of Future Generations Act is at the heart of the work we're doing, and it's something that we refer to if not daily, then at least weekly as our documents evolve, and it's really always there in terms of influencing, particularly in my role. I'm responsible for benefits realisation, so really using that as a reference point in that.
We're kind of seeing a clear line of sight through from being well and present and strong and resilient as a team will lead to greater and bigger economic well-being. And some of the indicators that we're using to realize our benefits, so GVA, for example, there is an argument, isn't there, that does GVA and the increase in GVA really demonstrate resilience and well-being? And thinking differently about the measures that we use to articulate a strong and resilient and healthy region, using people as a metric as well. And for example, people being in employment, being in more high value jobs, you would assume that leads to happiness or well-being at a different level. And it kind of when you start to use language in that way, I think it demonstrates an ecosystem that's much easier to understand for people, because everybody can relate to being well and happy and satisfied, accomplished, ambitious. So hopefully, the work of the growth deal will create the opportunities for that to happen. And it starts from us as a team being strong and resilient and being able to deliver that.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, that's really summed it up, I think. It's looking at what we value and how we measure what we're doing, and getting away from, the narrow idea that economic growth for its own sake will automatically deliver well-being. It's actually, we've got to be much more mindful about those things that create well-being at every level: individual, organisational, community well-being and economic regional well-being. So thanks so much for sharing your perspective. It's really great to hear how well-being is so embedded within the work of the North Wales Economic Ambition Board and the wider growth deal. And we hope you'll stay involved with us at the Wellbeing Economy Alliance, and we'll speak to you again soon.